Hey, what's up, everybody? And I'm going to show you today how to use Google Trends. So let's get right into it. So open the search bar and type in Google Trends. So Google Trends is pretty cool software. It's got a lot of useful information. It's got a lot of information you can kind of get lost into. And it's some funny stuff, like an example, who gets searched more, Taylor Swift or Kim Kardashian, how popular the World Cup is by region, what's more popular, football or American football in search terms. There's some more examples that they give us. Fortnite, uh, pho, ramen, soba, cupcakes. It's how popular these things are in general. So when you're in business, this is a really good way for you to look at things in regards to your business that you might not be aware of. For today's example, I'm going to pick pawn shops. So I'm going to type in pawn shop, right? So we'll look at pawn shop and we'll do first just kind of look at it as a search term. So the search term is pawn shop. Kind of shows that's interest over time. It's basically the same. There's like a little peak for it in December, because that makes sense. People kind of pawn themselves for the holidays. It peaks again June, about the same. I wonder why. But this is something like a trend. So you kind of notice the trend. Now we can see it by state, how often it's searched. The darker the color, the more often it's searched. Nevada having some of the most interest, probably because Vegas. But Mississippi surprisingly has a lot of interest in the search term. So maybe that's something to do with the state of Mississippi, that, if you were there, or you could kind of gauge that if you were interested in what shop or what state to open a pawn shop. This kind of stuff help answer some of those questions. This has related topics. It's like pawn broker, some pawn shops by name. And then here goes related queries, and you can look at rising and top. So these are kind of like things I like to look at. So top, these are the top searches that are related to that. Pawn shop near me being obviously the number one. Pawn shops, a pawn shop, gold pawn shop open. Pawn shops near me, gun pawn shop jewelry, best pawn shop. So if you're looking for keywords to go after, you're doing like Google ads or trying to pick SEO for your site, and these are some more common search stuff. So you can kind of build off of this. Las Vegas pawn shop hours. And now let's look at rising. So these will be key terms that are just starting to get popular. Easy pawn near me. So this chain might be getting more and more popular in the US. See, it's up by 300%. Exis Pawn Shop in Eastern Ave. Whatever pawn shop this is must be doing good. It's going up 1,000% recently. Easy Pawn shop nearest me. Benny's Pawn Shop. Buy gold near me. Okay, just kind of get an idea as to what people are looking for overall in the US. So let's take this a step further. We're in Florida, so let's see what's popular where we are. Beginning of December down to January, it kind of takes a dive. People probably get their income tax. It starts to build back up until now. This is the areas that we're looking at. You can see where it's more and more popular. So Northeast Florida and Jacksonville area is the most, then going down to Atlanta where we are. Surprisingly enough, the Miami area isn't even that high of a search term for it. And now let's look into this. So now we can see things in the rising category that are popular, like 24-hour pawn shop near me. If you have a pawn shop and it's not 24 hours, becoming 24 hours now might be useful. La Familia Pawn Shop is a popular chain in Orlando. It's growing. They get more and more locations all the time, so this makes sense. Pawn shop near me, pawn shop Orlando, pawn shop West Palm. Okay. Let's look over at top. Value Pawn, also pretty decent sized chain. Pawn shop open near me. See that seems coming up. So that people are probably searching for that after 7 o'clock when normal pawn shops are over. Pawn shop hours. Once again, people probably looking to pawn stuff late at night. I haven't really heard of any late night, overnight pawn shops or anything like that in Florida. Might be something to do with the laws, but there's probably some ways that you could work with that. So now let's go to Orlando and do the same thing. And rising, pawn shop near me, La Familia, top, pawn shop near me, La Familia, top. So La Familia, obviously really being searched quite a bit. Might be smart if you're doing something like Google Ads to take their name and make it an ad word so you pop up when people search for it. And now let's say we want to do some comparison, like pawn shop near me comparison to, sorry, we'll leave pawn shop there for this example. So we do pawn shop near me. See how often that's being searched compared to pawn shop. Pawn shop open now. So not as much. Online pawn shop. Also not as much. And then pawn or 24-hour pawn shop. So now let's compare these. It looks like pawn shop and pawn shop near me are the two top here. It'll show us some information based on those search results. There's not enough hits for the last three. But now let's zoom out a little bit. Remember, we're still in the Orlando setting. So let's see how that looks on a state level. Similar, but now we can see some movement here. So now we've got a bigger crowd of people. Pawn shop near me open now. Rise 180%. Okay. Kind of take a look at all that. And now, well, actually, let's look at the US. Should have typed that in. Still some light fluctuation here on the bottom. Now let's take it a step further and remove the more commonly searched key terms so we can focus on some of the more niche key terms and get a clear example of how often they actually are being searched, because there is some movement here. Look at that. Pretty crazy, right? And we can see what gets the most attention out of them. It kind of looks like it's all over the board. In Florida, it's almost even all the way through. 31, 42, and 27%. which is what we're the most concerned with Florida because this is where we are. See how they're going by sub-region. So pawn shop open now, mostly in Nevada. Online pawn shop is getting pretty popular in Texas. It's growing here in Florida though. And then 24-hour pawn shop, Nevada. Okay. So now let's break it down to Florida. Let's go ahead and click Florida here. Make it easier for us. So online pawn shop has a huge spike in April. Huge spike in the interest of that. So I think that's something definitely to look for. If you have a pawn shop, getting your inventory online. A lot of pawn shops that I've seen online, like Collateral Loans, I believe is what it's called in California. They had attempted to on their site and never did it because it's just a lot of work and having to put every single item up. But I think it'd be super smart to make it an e-store or tie it into a Facebook business page, and then make that your e-store, and then just embed that in your site. We'll have some videos on how to do that here in the future. But these are facts. Once again, top and rising. There's only top here. So because these are lower search terms, you know, just kind of showing you stuff on it. But basically, look, we can just follow just 24-hour pawn shop now and see when it spikes. Also, April. So it's just useful information, especially if it's about your business. Kind of go in here and explore. It'll help you get ideas and help you see what's trending in your business. You may find things that you did not realize were getting popular that you could take advantage of, try to utilize and experiment with now, and kind of be on the cutting edge of the trends as they come out. So this is a great tool for that kind of stuff. Highly recommend exploring Google Trends. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching.